volumes. I did not ask for this task. I certainly did not want it. For one thing, I live 2,500 miles from the Dakota, in Los Angeles, where I host a late-night radio interview show. Taking stock of John's possessions means multiple cross-country trips, which even for a relatively young man like me, I'm in my mid-30s at this point, can get pretty exhausting. But Yoko asked me to do it, and I have rarely been able to say no to Yoko, let alone John. It was, in fact, the story of my life, doing what John and Yoko asked of me. If only I had learned to say no. If only I had the strength to resist the undefinable magnetic pull both of them had on me for so many years, starting almost from the very moment in 1971 when we first met on my radio show. I might have discovered a very different destiny for myself. I might have ended up living a more balanced, traditional existence. I might have married, had children, or even made some ordinary friends who didn't hold extraordinary secrets I had to keep from the prying eyes of the entire world. If friends are even the right word for John and Yoko. The English language contains some 170,000 words, and yet I've never come across a single one of them that fully describes the odd contours and strange angles that made up my relationship with John and Yoko. Over the 9 years that I spent with John before his death, and the 40 more with Yoko afterwards, I played many parts in the sometimes puzzling, occasionally maddening, always complex dramas they scripted for the three of us. I was a trusted confidant, a fixer of problems, a media rep, although I was never officially employed by either until after John's death, an investigator, a sounding board, a traveling mate, a connection to the outside world, a sometime babysitter, not for their young son Sean, but for John, who tended to need one more, and above all else, a 24/7 telecompanion who spent literally hundreds of hours on the phone with them in epic transcontinental conversations that could go on for 6 or 7 hours at a stretch. I knew how I felt about John and Yoko. I loved them like family. I'd like to say they felt a similar familial attachment to me. I hope they did. But again, I was never completely sure what their true feelings were. All I knew was that when they called, which they did constantly, I felt compelled to answer. In the years we were together, nobody spoke with them more than I did. I'll never know exactly why mine was the number they so frequently dialed, but I know I always did my best to be a true friend to them both. Even at the most challenging times, I was there for John and Yoko, refusing to take sides, telling them truths that could sometimes be hard to hear. They trusted me, and I trusted them in return. It was a relationship and responsibility that was almost always a joyous one. But for the past few months, it's been a heavy one. At this moment, in February 1981, at Yoko's request, the function I am performing in the middle of the night is archivist and scrivener. I am performing it with robot-like dispassion.